Howdy boyos, and welcome back, technically speaking, to Arma 3. Today I am making this video because I really wanted to discuss with you the fresh off the press announcement of S.O.G Prairie Fire, an Arma 3 creator DLC or CDLC. This is going to be coming out really soon here in just a couple of months, and it's going to honestly blow everyone's minds. I've been part of this for months myself. It's been so hard to keep secret. I wanted to tell everyone about it because it's just so insane. But before I lose my mind and we go into all the details, let me just get all the things that you want to know right off the bat, and then what I'll put timestamps below the video in the description. You can either click on those or use the highlight feature on YouTube and select the things you want to know more about. We're going to just go over very quickly, and then the details will come. You do want to know more about this, trust me. So first of all, the name S.O.G Prairie Fire. S.O.G refers to S.O.G in MACV-SOG, which stands for Military Assistance Command Vietnam Studies and Observations Group. This was the name for U.S. Special Forces and their operations during the Vietnam War. And the S.O.G in the title refers to the stuff you'll be doing in the COOP-Campaign in the DLC. And Prairie Fire is the area of operations during the Vietnam War that was assigned to Laos. So S.O.G Prairie Fire refers to U.S. Special Forces doing sneaky beaky stuff, though some explosive stuff too, trust me, behind enemy lines in Laos. The DLC is going to cost $22.99, both dollars and euros. Like I said, it will be coming out soon, though I cannot give you an accurate exact date as of right now. This CDLC will obviously come with a lot of stuff, so I'm going to try and condense it into just a super short list, and then we'll get more detailed. First of all, a 300 square kilometer map. I have a picture of it right here. This is the same as Altis plus Stratus from Arma 3 Vanilla combined. And to put that into perspective, Chernaris from Arma 2 was only 225 square kilometers. This map does have 3 times the amounts of objects Altis has. Trust me, there's a lot of jungle. Moving on, there are 4 factions represented: the US Army and its MACV-SOG Special Forces units, ARVN, or the South Vietnamese Army, allied with the Americans. Then, to oppose them, we have 2 factions: the North Vietnamese Army, or the People's Army of Vietnam, PAVN, and the very famous, and people will obviously recognize these, the National Liberation Front and Viet Cong rebel forces will also be represented. The CDLC will add 50 plus weapons and 50 plus vehicles for all of these factions. Air, land, and sea are all well represented. There are 6 missions in a campaign where you follow this S.O.G team as they go into Prairie Fire areas, and this campaign is playable in co-op with up to 14 players. Now, the developers have said, and I've also seen myself, that these are not repetitive scenarios and they can play out any kind of ways. A bunch of multi and single player scenarios will be available. For example, one to get used to all the content, to fly the helicopter, shoot the guns. Also some really cool multiplayer missions that we're going to definitely delve into later on in this video. They've also added over 100 contemporary food, drink, and medical items to spice up your missions and the environment, as well as over 150 different Vietnam-era structures and fortifications. Now, last but not least, in this little list that I wanted to go through before we go into detail, there will be a demo/compatibility version released when the CDLC releases. This is a free version that people can use to get their hands on things, take a look at all the content in the Creator DLC, make up their mind whether or not they want to buy it. Honestly, you really should. And also, this allows Zeusers, mission makers, to use the files and cool stuff that the CDLC adds, like structures or defensive networks. They can use these in their missions, and people who don't own the DLC can then use the Compat version to still be able to come and play and check out those missions. So obviously we really only skimmed the very top of what this Creator DLC or CDLC is about. Now, I have quite a bit of playtime with the Creator DLC, and though I am not able or allowed to go into extreme detail, I am going to be telling you a couple of things and also use the website and a lot of the Steam pictures to kind of describe what you may expect from this DLC going forward. Alright, let's first start off with the newly added terrain. Cam Lao Nam, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that, is, like I already mentioned, about 300 square kilometers. And there are some really awesome things to do on this map. You can go visit Hue City with its citadel. You can go visit Saigon, secret tunnels, bunkers, hidden camps. You got Hamburger Hill in there. And if you don't really like going to a city or hiding in the jungle, you can go to a bunch of different US bases and FOBs around the map. If you don't even want to touch the ground, there are so many little river deltas and swampy areas you can go hide out with your little boats, or you can try and find secret airstrips or Paradise Island. Having obviously been on the map before during multiple different sessions, it is so awesome to see how far they have come. When I first saw the map, it was literally nothing but like 5 trees, and they said, wait till it's done. And I gotta say, that transformation is so unique to see what it turned into. It is such a lively map. When you're walking down the streets of Hue or Saigon, it just feels like a totally different world from when you're in the trenches on Hamburger Hill, or you're crouching with a flashlight on your gun through a tunnel and you have a guy behind you who is scanning for traps. It's honestly so freaking awesome and cinematic, and I am so excited to get some gameplay out for you guys whenever that is obviously allowed. Alright, moving on to the campaign. I gotta say, this was so cinematic. I have done quite a few missions with some members of the development team, and the first time I jumped in, I was obviously really kind of scared. I didn't really know anyone. And then honestly, 5 minutes into being dropped in the middle of the jungle, and there's shots going around, and there's people on your ass, and you have to run, and there's people behind you exploding on mines your team put down. It is so freaking cool. You can play this with up to 13 of your friends, and obviously yourself, bringing a total to 14 players, and it has dialogue voiced by even some former MACV-SOG Special Forces members, and the system that they created here where you can actually drop in and drop out, you know, if you have to go to the store or your friend joins late, means they don't have to restart missions. Like I mentioned earlier, there are also some purely single-player scenarios. These are more showcases, so you can kind of get used to the content that you'll have access to. However, there is a mission called Ash and Trash, which is a bonus helicopter mission, and this is for single-player only. Alright, on to the factions. So there are 4 new factions represented in this CDLC. We have MACV and some US Army regular stuff. We have Arvin, the army of the South Vietnamese, and then we have the Pavin and the VC, who are there to oppose these 2 factions on the North Vietnamese side of things. Sneaky beaky like VC trying to crawl around, or obviously just full-on pitch battles with the Pavin. It is up to you what you do. Alright, so before we jump into the new vehicle and static weapon hype, which trust me, you want to be hyped for this, I really want to mention something I said a couple weeks ago on Twitter. The Global Mobilization team, the guys who made the first Greater DLC for Arma 3, the Cold War Germany one, actually just put out an update a couple weeks ago. And their content's quality is so high, it's such an insane level of detail and love for that product that I said, and I retweeted and I said, every future CDLC should be held to your standard. I honestly wasn't sure it was possible, but then you look at this one, and you look at the vehicles and the weapons and the map, and trust me, we'll get to the weapons, but the vehicles and the map alone, the amount of love and just passion that's gone into this project over the last couple of years is so insane, and you really notice it once you start getting into these vehicles, the quality of the sounds, the way they look. It is so nuts. I'm going to sit here and put my hand on my heart and promise you that that quality that I found so insane in Global Mobilization is 100% again seen here in the Prairie Fire CDLC. And I feel like that is not mentioned enough. How hard these community developers work on their content with pure passion and love, and you can really tell, and it is honestly very, very awesome. With that being said, let's jump into this. So we have a bunch of helicopters, armed and unarmed boats, trucks, light tanks, aircraft, a buttload of static weapons from machine guns to mortars to anti-tank guided missile launchers to anti-aircraft launchers, and 2 new bicycles, which I guess they wanted to list separately. I'm not going to go through all of these, but to just name a couple of ones that I thought people would love to know about, they have a Pavin helicopter, the Mi-2, both in transport and gunship variants. We have a load of different CH-34s, different Hueys, AH-1G gunships, and of course the OH-6 Scout helicopters in so many different textures and ornament versions, and even call signs to just allow you to make different scenarios happen. So moving on, there's a buttload of boats, both armed and unarmed. I think my favorite one I've seen so far is the very appropriately named Nasty Class Patrol Boat. This thing has way too many guns than knows what it's good for itself. It is honestly a fortress of guns, and it has a great name. Alright, there are a bunch of new land vehicles and variants for these land vehicles, but what I thought was really cool that both the M41 Walker Bulldog and the Type 63 light tanks come with the interior. I feel like a lot of people can't think of the Vietnam War without the Huey, the M16, I guess even the AK, but honestly, the F4 Phantom. This is such an awesome looking machine in this DLC. The pictures still don't do it justice, and the pictures are freaking awesome. Whoever made these, perfect job, but it still doesn't do it justice. The sound of one of these flying over low, and you can see the napalm being dropped off in the jungle off to your left or right, just where you took contact from, is so unique and undescribable. And then Pavin has missile launchers and radar to try and counteract this plane. There is an actual insane amount of static weapons, machine guns, like I said, mortars, artillery, anti-tank missiles, the anti-air rockets that I just mentioned. This is so nuts. I could make 40, 50 different screenshots of these things and show you them in every single angle. I'm just picking a couple of my favorites here because there's literally 30 or more of them, and it is ridiculous. There's way too much to go into detail about, but trust me, there is literally enough for every faction to go ham with. Of course, like I just mentioned, when you think about the Vietnam War, people think about Hueys and F4 Phantoms dropping napalm, but a lot of people would also probably think about the M16, the M60, AKs, but also outdated equipment like Mosin Nagants or German World War II MP40s. There is so much stuff, again, just like with the vehicles, in this upcoming CDLC that I could not show everything. Even if I wanted to, this video would unironically be over 2.5, 3 hours long. I'm just picking a couple of highlights. I highly suggest you take a look at the website and go through all the screenshots, and all the stuff there is written down. I'm just picking a couple of my personal favorites. There is so much stuff, and the thing is, it says they have detailed animations and realistic sounds. And of course they're going to write that, you say. Of course they're going to write that. They're not going to say they look shitty, because they don't actually look shitty. They look fantastic. They sound awesome. I remember the very first mission I played, some of the devs, I had a suppressed M16, and I fired off a couple of shots at a patrol, and I remember telling one of the guys I was with, this is insane. I had goosebumps. It sounded great, and in the real animation, it just really captivated me. And I know that sounds really cheap, but you gotta see it for yourself. And I'm so excited to finally be able to talk to you guys about this DLC and hopefully soon showcase some gameplay, because honestly, just talking about it and a couple of pictures, you can see the quality of the textures, but you can't see the quality of these animations and listen to the sounds. You're gonna have to wait for that, but it is totally worth waiting for. So I think the next thing really speaks to how community-minded the developers are behind S.O.G Prairie Fire. Now, let's be honest here, everyone wants to jump into the campaign. Everyone wants to jump into some of their single-player scenarios, but eventually you're going to go play this with your friends, and you and your friends are either like super fans of Liberation or Anti-Stasi, or maybe you just like more King of the Hill. Maybe you like using Exile, doing the escape missions, or even PlayerUnknown's Battle Royale style gameplay. They contacted all of these community developers and got them all to work together to make all of these game modes available directly from the release, which is honestly nuts to me, and it really speaks volumes about how community-oriented this creator team is, and it's just so awesome to see that whatever you like, there is so much to pick from. I personally don't even know what I would jump into first. There's almost too much of it, but I guess there's never enough content, right? So I did play a little bit of their in-house created game scenario called Mike Force. In this, you have different teams with different specializations take over the map. You have different teams that do different things. For example, ACAV, or the Armed Cavalry, their job is to build forward operating bases and drive trucks between the FOB and the main base to deliver supplies, so then people can actually go ahead and build these FOBs. If you think that's boring, you can join the Green Hornets. Your job will then be to transport men and or supplies to either FOBs or outposts or missions, support them from the air in a close air support helicopter, or gun shit down with the M60 on the side of a transport helicopter. If you think that's not what you want to do, you can join the Mike Force team. This is the infantry unit that does the grunt work. They fight the VC, they garrison FOBs, and they also then have to sweep the streets clean. Last but not least, the Spike team operates deep behind enemy lines. Their job is to locate and destroy enemy facilities while also being on the lookout for patrols looking out for them. I actually played a buttload of this game mode, and it is totally right up my alley. And I know a lot of people will really dive into this game mode and just lose track of time. It's a couple of your buds, you're going out on a mission, you secure an area from the enemy, and now you have to build a FOB because the enemy will come at you in force. So a couple of you friends have to jump into a helicopter role or the ACAV role and deliver supplies. Then you get to go to work with your little shovel and you start building these fortifications, these bunkers, these trenches, these defensive lines, the towers, respawn buildings, ammo areas. You gotta protect this newly gained ground against an attack. And then, when that's over, you go to the next one, and whether you get airdropped off by a guy flying you in a helicopter, or you jump on board of one of the ACAV guys' trucks, or you decide to walk there and tell your friend in the truck, hey, we'll be at this location in a couple minutes, can you drop us off some more supplies? And all this time, the guy in the truck is at risk of being ambushed or running into enemy forces. The same goes for the helicopter team. They can get shot down, they need rescuing. This is basically an ongoing, persistent mission, and the couple of hours I have put into it myself with the developers have probably been some of the most unique Arma gameplay I have played. And I've played 5,000 or 6,000 hours of this game, and for me to say that there's something that really made me want to come back and play Arma was very unique for me. And I gotta give it to the devs of this CDLC and obviously the Mike Force game mode. It is so cool. This is probably where I'll spend a lot of my time after it releases. Of course, to be fully immersed in this period and the jungles and cities on the map, there is some music needed. Now, they did add 14 rock and blues tracks specifically made for this CDLC. You can play these in vehicles on the radio, and just as a mission maker, you can add them to your missions. And I gotta say, I have been using them throughout this video, so you kind of have a clue of what to expect. Now, obviously, music is only half of the audio that you want to know about. The other audio, of course, being the sounds. And I can talk about that until I see blue in the face, but that's not going to help you at all. I can assure you the sounds are glorious and, again, custom made for the DLC. I would recommend you check out any footage, either the trailer or gameplay footage, when they are allowed to be released, because you are going to be astonished. Alright, I feel like I have rambled on way too long and maybe took way too much time talking about this, but you have to understand I've been keeping this a secret for months. The team has been keeping this a secret for years. I am so excited to finally be able to at least share some of this stuff with you guys. I can't wait to showcase the dozens of hours of video I have already made with developers, and some I'll be making here soon. For now, I can only say I hope you are as excited about this as I am and have been for months, because honestly, it is so cool. I hope you guys have a good one. Stay safe, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Cheers.